Okay, so salute to everyone out there. It is 1:45 a.m. here on the West Coast. Earlier today, I put some chicken wings on the grill, mozzarella cheese sticks in the oven, and I was supposed to make a salad, but I didn't. I end up taking a nap, and I just got up not too long ago. I just needed some rest. I haven't been getting too much sleep lately. So it's too late to eat the chicken wings. So I will save them for dinner later on today. That's what I'll do. So without any further ado, let's get into it.
Thousands of Central American migrants are vowing to continue their march to the U.S. border, even though President Trump wants to turn them away. Over the weekend, the migrants forced their way into southern Mexico, surging past police barricades and crossing a river on makeshift rafts. Mexican authorities say more than 5,000 people, including women and children, are in the caravan. Most of them say they're fleeing poverty and violence in Honduras.
It's a hot-button topic for the president ahead of the midterm elections. He told a weekend rally what he has in mind for the caravan.
I will seal off the border before they come into this country, and I'll bring out our military, not our reserves. I'll bring out our military.
Adriana Diaz is following the migrant caravan. She's in the southern Mexican town of Tapachula. Adriana, good morning.
Good morning. I'm going to speak in a low voice because, as you can see, there are people sleeping everywhere on the ground here in the main square. They're part of a caravan organized by local advocacy groups in Honduras. Caravans happen about once a year, leading people north in a large group for their safety because it is so dangerous to go alone or with smugglers. We saw people walking in 100-degree heat. They were sweating, they were exhausted, but they're determined to reach the U.S. border, roughly 1,500 miles away.
On Sunday, the caravan lurched forward, carrying babies, suitcases, and hope. In this rushing river of migrants, it was hard for families to stay together.
¿Quiénes son estas niñas? Who are these girls?
We came across two sisters separated from their parents.
She said she was traveling with her mother and her father. Now she's not with them. She says her sister was taking care of her.
This woman, watching over the sisters, told us they were put on a truck by their mother, who then disappeared into the crowd.
She says she has two kids also. She's not leaving them.
We found Karen Lanza looking for her son after he'd fallen behind. He eventually caught up, exhausted. They'd been walking for 10 days. To get here, most migrants crossed this river between Guatemala and Mexico. Some entered legally through this bottlenecked bridge. Others, out of desperation, jumped, preferring to swim across the border instead. We saw federal police on standby, but they didn't stop illegal crossings.
The migrants have finally reached the city of Tapachula, and it is now starting to rain. You can see everyone trying to scramble for cover.
Children tried to make the best of the wet chaos. Esnaider Davila sought shelter under a tarp. He's 16, alone, and has never been to school.
Why did you leave?
Por violencia, por falta de dinero.
He said because of violence, because there's no money. He just wants to have an education.
Amid the crying babies and hastily made meals, we reconnected with Karen and her exhausted children. She told us she was thinking about turning back.
She says her kids have had to deal with being hungry, but they've never had to deal with being cold, having to sleep on the floor.
The migrants' next stop will be about 25 miles north to the city of Huixtla. Every single person we've spoken to tells us they are undeterred by the president's vow to keep them from entering the U.S. As for those two lost sisters we told you about, we have learned that they've been reunited with their mother. She apparently loaded them onto a truck that drove away before she could get on. Nora?
Wow, Adriana, I've been following your reporting on Instagram, all your videos. Great reporting out there with your team. Thank you so much.
Every woman, every man, join the caravan of love. Wow. These people are walking through every type of terrain, weather, thousands of miles to get to the U.S. border through rain, sleep, snow, 100-degree weather. These people's country have collapsed. The resources have dried up. There's no jobs. There's extreme poverty. So, of course, It's in human nature to go where the milk and honey is flowing. Totally understand that. However, America doesn't have the room. This country simply doesn't have the room. Now, there's loopholes in the immigration laws, and immigrants have exploited these laws to the T. So much to the point where people who are coming through the American visa immigration system, the legal way, they have to be put on hold. It's a mess. It's a mess. And we know that these immigrants, they will be granted asylum and they will be placed in sanctuary cities where the laws are very, very lenient. They'll get driver license. You wonder why car insurance is so high. I've always said this. This is the reason why car insurance is high. And these liberal states like California, they capitalize on it. They raise the taxes. They put the state in debt. Meanwhile, the public is so dumb, they're blaming the immigrants when it's really these politicians that they're voting for. Now, I didn't vote for Trump, okay? So do not come to the comment section talking about you voted for Trump. I didn't vote for Trump. But there are some policies that he is enforcing that I like. Immigration is one of them, okay? Now, you may say, well, Trump is a racist. Maybe so. So was Bill and Hillary Clinton. They may be the bigger racists. So you have immigrants that are coming to America for a better life. You can't knock that. I'm not knocking that. However, you can't just come to someone's borders and demand them let you in. And then when they come over into America, because you're not screening these people, you have murderers, rapists. I've done videos on rape trees at the border where they tie Hispanic women or just immigrants up to the trees, women, and rape them. Or they have to pay for their coyote to transport them from Honduras to the U.S. border. She'll fuck, excuse my language, 10 dudes on the way. That'll pay her way to the border. It is what it is. This is a survival tactic. You got to do what you got to do. But you have cultures here in America that have absolutely no idea what's going on and what is about to happen. America is being invaded. The invasion is here. It's here. And your Democrats' hand is in the cookie jar. They're using these people for votes. They're losing power. They're in trouble. They're in big trouble. And then you have Maxine Waters, how you have a huge homeless problem here in Los Angeles. You have a huge homeless capital. Homeless capital. Black men, black women on the streets, homeless, in the rain, in the hell, in the heat. No help. Nothing. But when immigrants come, they get Section 8, they get food stamps, they get dental, health care. And I give it to them, at least they're buying politicians. They are. And there are people that are in power that can change some laws. They're standing up for their people. I give them that. They have a culture. They're standing up. They're taking falls for their people. They're like, listen, they got a lot of people that's willing to take a headshot for them, lose their jobs, die for them, die for their people. So these people do have values. They do. However, you can't come to a country and exploit the immigration laws and think you're supposed to be treated fairly. My black ass cannot go to your country and demand anything. And if I dare to march through your country with my black brothers, we will be in a shootout with the cartels. So if I can't go to your country and do it, why do you think you have the right to come to my country and do it? You have people sleeping in shelters on the floors. People that have peed on themselves, number 2 on themselves, have colds, flus. These people are dying to get to America. Literally. They have no other way to survive. Many of these people have walked 10 miles without food and water. 10 miles without food and water. Now, I can do that. I can walk 10 miles without food and water. People who work out or in good health can do that. Have a good win. We can do that. But when you are the average person who don't do any exercise, that is tough. 10 miles is a long ways. 10 miles is a long ways. Just think about the track. Let's say you're running track at college. 4 times around the track is 1 mile. Walking in 100-degree weather. 100 degrees walking, no water. So you can imagine what they have to do. And then they have to get sleep. Then they have to worry about being robbed, beaten. Many of those people will not make it. Now, the Haitians that were in Mexico, I haven't heard anything about them. Where are the Haitians? What happened to the Haitians that were in Tijuana, Mexico? Why aren't they being let over? You see how this stuff works? You see how this stuff works? So you have an immigration system that Donald Trump, I do think that he is trying to put troops on the border. But he has to go through a series of things. And if he puts troops on the border, that will stop the drug trade that the government is doing with the cartels also. That's the truth. That's really the reason why they don't really want to put troops on the border. And then you look at the job market here in America, where you have, I believe, 22 million Americans out of work. An outrageous number. And you have cultural differences, race issues, class issues, people issues. You have all of this taking place here in America on top of other problems, financial issues, and you're going to take on immigrants also. You can't even solve your own issues. And then you have these female Democrats like Maxine Waters, how she turned her back on the black homeless in Los Angeles. Horrible person. And you have the nerve to get mad because Maxine Waters was put on Michael Myers' shoulders. Yes, what she has done to Black America is nothing less than a horror flick. Yeah, that's about right. That is about right. Then you have Kamala Harris. Total sellouts. People that have sold their loyal black voter base out for undocumented labor. And if you are a citizen of America, you shouldn't have a problem showing your ID to vote. This idea that, because you have to show ID to vote, that means you don't want black people to vote. If you are a citizen of the United States of America, then you should have in your possessions at all times. So if something happened to you, they can identify you. And if you want to buy something, okay? So this idea that, Oh, because they want to see your ID or your driver's license, or they want to see proof of who you actually are, because it's so much voter fraud. And then they say, well, Russians hacked into the election database, the system. I don't think so. I think this is just a media hit job on Russia. America always have to paint everyone else the boogeyman. They never ever tell their role in the situation. They initiate all the contact, but then frame you. So we understand how this beast get down. Then you have these undocumented immigrants competing for the cheap labor that Americans can use to feed their families in a time of need. If this trade war goes down with China, millions of Americans can and will lose jobs. So once people lose their jobs and they can't find any work because immigrants are taking the jobs or having the jobs, and see, these employers are going to hire who they want to hire. Okay? It's supply and demand. It's business. It's business. And that's why I tell the immigrants that's coming here, I don't hate you. It's just business. You can't be on my block making money. Just period. There's nothing to discuss. I can't go to your block and make a buck. You're not going to come here and do it. And now you have, again, these female Democrats who are flooding their communities with undocumented immigrants, which these cultures are different. The American culture and the immigrant culture is different. And these people don't speak English. So you have all of this friction going on, and the Democrats don't care because their pockets are fat. Their families have college tuition funds. They live in Beverly Hills, Bel Airs. They have the Hispanic Mexican nannies come over and clean their house. It's Christmas time, put their light bulbs on their house. Be a nanny. When their baby take a boo-boo, that Mexican nanny is going to wipe that baby's ass for that rich family. Some of these Mexican women, these nanny housekeeping Mexican women will be knocked up by some white man. All of these things do happen. Arnold Schwarzenegger, governor of California, while he was the governor of California, he knocked up his nanny. I guess, she was bent over too many times cleaning up. And he just, one day, he went RoboCop on that ass. However, that son is set for life. He's good. He went to all the best schools and he's good. And you have to watch these news outlets like CNN, MSNBC, these liberal media news outlets, because they're painting Trump as a racist. He just may be a racist. However, they need to focus more on the invasion of America. This place is rocking. And if you aren't serious about life, when a disaster strikes, you will fall to the wayside. Got to start taking life seriously. These people are coming to take your spot. They're not your friend. They need your help. Once they get you in numbers, you will be cast away. And I understand that may sound harsh to some people. You have to understand something. I am from a sanctuary city. So, of course, I look at this totally different than you. These people are coming by the hundreds of thousands. Thousands of miles. One of the ladies said, I thought about turning back. I just kept going. Wow. And it's sink or swim. She's like, well, I'm going to die out here. There's nothing at home. It's hell back at home. There's absolutely nothing at home for us. You look at what's going on in Venezuela. You have dogs being cooked and eaten because there's no food. These countries have collapsed. There was a news article on Venezuela, and they said a loaf of bread was $10. I think it was $10. There were lines wrapped around the corner. Some lines were up to a mile long. Look what happened to Puerto Rico. The hurricane hit. The governor didn't evacuate properly. A lot of people came up dead in that hurricane. Okay? So these countries are collapsing. Resources are scarce. The weather is changing. The weather is changing. Places that were hot are cold now. Places that were cold are hot now. You have lakes drying up. You have fish in the sea that will not be plentiful in the near future like they were in the past. Overfishing. Overfishing. Look at the meat industry. They have to use steroids. They're not raising chickens and hens and turkeys fast enough. Pigs. Not fast enough. And how can a country like America help immigrants when you have a huge homeless problem here in America? It makes absolutely no sense. You look at how they treat the veterans. Veterans are treated horribly. Horribly. You have homeless veterans. There should not be not one homeless veteran. There shouldn't be any homeless veterans on the streets. But somehow these slumlords like Maxine Waters and the Democrat slave plantation and some Republicans, I don't like none of them. And don't think that a lot of these immigrants aren't inside of these Republicans' mansions cleaning up also, even though they're talking about immigration. But Republicans do want a system where you have a worker's visa where you come over and work. That's fair. Like you come over and you do housekeeping, or you come over and you study, or you come over and, whatever. A certain amount of time, and then you go back. But these people overstay their visas. Millions overstay their visas. And I don't feel sorry for them. I don't feel sorry for them. I understand your situation, but everyone has to hold their own nuts. Everyone has to hold their own nuts for here on out. And I tell people that are listening, if you aren't taking life serious, take life serious. We have problems here in America. We have a lot of problems, deep issues. But at least it is a little better here than other places. Yes, this place is deteriorating fast, very fast. It is. You look at the health of people. You look at the older generation, the majority of them are on canes. Is it the foods, or people don't take care of themselves? And when I mention food, I mean the chemicals in the food. So America have our own problems. And if you are a American, enjoy the good times. Enjoy the good times that you have, because this place is in decline. It is screwed up here in America. And enjoy every day, because you never know what tomorrow may bring. It's nuts. You never know. You never know. And I do believe that what's going on in Latin America will happen here in America. Americans will become immigrants one day. Americans will have to flee to Canada or into Mexico one day. I'm out. Peace.